Hey guys, I'm a Grandmaster player, I've hit rank 1 on Fiora, and I'm here to help you with Fiora in Season 13. Just to make it real short, if you've never played a game of Fiora, continue watching the video. If you have, just get to this timestamp that will be right here. On to the next thing, Fiora's abilities. So, Fiora's Q is a small dash that does damage and procs any on-hit effects. So right now you can Q onto it. If you hit it, the cooldown will get lowered. If you don't hit the Q, the cooldown will be the maximum amount. Fiora's W is called Repost, and if you use it, you are invulnerable to everything in the game. Ignite, Exhaust, every single ability, everything. Except turret shots. Only thing you're not invulnerable to. If you W someone, you'll basically wither them. Not Nasus wither, Zillion wither. They cannot move. But if you W anything that would immobilize you, Lee Sin Kick that moves you away, Pantheon W that CCs you, anything at all that would immobilize you, stop you from using your character, you will be able to stun the enemy for 2 seconds. And that has pretty neat effects with a lot of stuff like Veigar Cage, where you can QW through it, or Caitlyn Traps. Then you have your E. Your E is an auto attack reset that lets you just get in a quick succession of attacks, and the second one crits. First E slows, and then the second one just crits. Slow, and crit. For your R places 4 vitals around them, and each vital hit does you true damage, same as your passive, and the R gives you a lot of movement speed. Once you get the 4 vitals, it drops down a little circle on the ground that heals you depending on how many vitals you've hit before you've killed your target, or if you've hit all 4 vitals. Fiora's passive. Fiora's passive just spawns a little vital on each edge of you. It can be up, right, down, or left. And if you hit that vital, you gain HP, do max HP true damage to the enemy, and get movement speed, allowing you to kite your target, either to run away from them or to get to the next vital quicker. Fiora's Identity. Fiora is a split push champion. She excels at dueling enemies in the mid to late game, but she's a little weak early on. While Fiora's a little overstat and she can win early duels, that's not typically what she wants to go for. She wants to play early game safe, scale up to 2 items in order to start dueling her enemies, and at 3 to 4 items, she becomes a complete menace in the side lane that the enemy is forced to send multiple people to in order to deal with. And that's where you shine. In the side lane, getting turrets. Okay, Fiora's pros and cons. Pros, you can cheese a lot of kills because you're a bullshit champion. Pros, you can split push really well. You have an insane 1-2, let me press on that, 1-2 item power spike. You also have pretty insane itemization. You get Ravenous, you get Gore, Hullbreaker, Death Stance. All these items are incredibly strong. And then you have your cons. Items are expensive. Cons, you're really bad against any form of disengage. Poke. Any overstat champion that has a Yuumi on them, or a Lulu buffing them, or a Zillion, it's very hard for you to kill. In a team fight, you are useless. You are useless. You are good at split pushing, but you're bad at team fighting. And that's like the drawback. Split push, bad team fight, never team fight, always split push. So, for runes, Fiora has 2 possible choices that I personally like. You can either go the Conquer Rune page if you're going into melee champions that can't kite you and are generally tankier, and you go Conquer. If they are squishy champions that can kite you, you tend to want to go PTA instead of Conquer in order to be able to one-shot them more quickly. But there is a rune page that's decently popular, which is just the Grasp rune page. I do not like this, I would not recommend it. Pro players take this because Fiora is a weak early game champion that scales insanely well. So, in order to just avoid this weak early game part, they just take Grasp to not die, and they go Divine to not die. It's a bad 1 item power spike. You can't kill the enemy, but you don't die, and you scale. I would not recommend Grasp. Always take Conqueror most of your games, and take PTA if you're into ranged squishy mobile champions. For the secondary runes, what I like to take is Demolish and Overgrowth. Demolish, you always get the plate every time you crash a wave. Overgrowth, you like having HP just to not get one shot, and for your healing to have a bigger HP pool to heal from. But instead of Overgrowth, you can take Bone Plating, Second Wind, or Unflinching depending on the enemy team comp. Second Wind into ranged poke, Bone Plating into heavy aggressive matchups early game, Unflinching into a lot of CCs or slows. Triumph, you always take Triumph. Some people want Presence of Mind, but personally I don't feel like Fiora has that much of a mana problem. Tenacity, take it into CC. The enemy has no CC that will actually fight you. You're a split push champion. If nobody with CC will come to side lane to fight you, you do not need Legend Tenacity. Even if they have Leona or Ashe or Lissandra, if they are not coming to side lane, doesn't matter, you don't need Tenacity, and go Bloodline. I don't like Alacrity that much. It doesn't feel like it has that much value for me. You don't need that much attack speed. Just go Bloodline. I really like it. And then just go Last Stand. For these, you go attack speed, damage, armor, and that's good enough. So, for Fiora's items, if you're going Conqueror, generally you're going to want to get, with Conqueror, Ravenous Hydra first. It's been recently changed. Even with the nerfs, Ravenous Hydra first feels so much better. You don't have the burst of proccing the Gore Drinker active, but the healing, the wave push, the AD, it feels insanely good. I'd recommend getting it first. And second item, you get Gore Drinker, and then you get Hullbreaker, then Death Stance. The reason I recommend Hullbreaker third is because if you split push with Hullbreaker's Fiora and you permanently split push, it has so much value. It has so much value, it's insane. It's better than Death Stance in terms of the third item value that it'll give you, and I always recommend Hullbreaker over Death Stance third, and then Death Stance or Maw if you're into a lot of AP. Those are like the 4 items I'd recommend on Fiora. Fifth, you can get whatever you want. If you want to get Strax Gauge, if you're going to want a team fight, sure. If you want GA, you know, you do you. You do you. But if you're going PTA, you should take Stridebreaker and Bork with the Stridebreaker. Usually when I go Stridebreaker and Bork, I prefer going huge AD items with it, like Maw and Death Dance, and building no HP to be a glass cannon that can one-shot the enemy Vayne or Kale or whatever range champions that they have. And this build is extremely efficient with the Stridebreaker Bork. If you're going Gore or Ravenous Hydra with it, it doesn't have as much value or potential to one-shot, and that's why I prefer Stride and Bork with the PTA. If you're going Grasp, you'd go Divine with it and Ravenous now because Ravenous is overstat, but I don't like the Grasp build or Runes, so if you want to try it, go ahead. I wouldn't recommend it. I prefer Conqueror or PTA always. For boots, you can go either Steel Caps if you're into a lot of auto-attacking champions that will actually auto-attack you when split pushing. You can go Mercury Treads if they have CC. If they only have AP but no CC, do not go Mercury Treads. Instead, go Ionians or Swiftness. Either is better than Mercury Treads. And then just build a Null Magic Mantle. That is much better. A lot of my games, they won't have auto-attacking champions or CC, so I'll end up going Ionians because it has a lot of value due to the early ability haste that you get. And that's what I prefer to run. One of these 3 boots, either Ionians, if they don't have auto-attacking champions or CC, Steel Caps if they do have a lot of auto-attacking champions, Mercury Treads if they have CC and AP. For Fiora's counters, what you want to ban is like an actual good Samira in top lane is a good counter to Fiora. Vayne, if she's extremely skilled, counters Fiora. Cannon is decent, Heimerdinger is okay. What else is there? Jax, if you learn the matchup, it's fine. Generally, the counters to Fiora are a skill gap. The opponent is much more skilled on you. That is what will shine through. The matchup isn't as relevant as people would think. Counters to you that require no skill are Lulu support, Yumi support, or just overstat champions in the meta. I'd recommend always banning Lulu or Yumi. Those are the champions you have to ban because Fiora is very bad into hyperscaling ADCs or champions with a lot of shielding or healing because you can't kill them twice. Fiora does max HP damage, the shields don't count, the healing doesn't count. It's just so bad for you to one-shot someone when they have 2 HP bars. So, Fiora has a couple of tricks to her. The most basic one is the fact that you can QW. You can just do it to get the fight starting as quick as possible. And when you are, you can just stand between the 2 vitals, auto-attack it, instantly reset with an E, Q, and then walk down to hit the last vital. Like, instantly, this is what it would look like. And it's pretty quick. It is a pretty quick combo. You can use Gore Drinker to proc any of the vitals there, but it's a pretty quick combo. You don't need flash. Flash is overkill in 99% of the situations. It's just a waste of flash. Another Fiora trick is that you can auto flash. In the auto attack animation, as soon as you start it, you instantly flash, and that way you can proc vitals that are usually hidden behind walls or on the other side of the fight, and you want to proc it as soon as possible because the fight will be really close. You need to reset the vital. It's a pretty neat trick. Something you might not have known is Fiora can queue over some pretty thick walls. Like here, if you walk over to right here on the crack, and then you check over here and queue here, you can queue over this wall. It's not the most consistent thing, but you can still sort of do it. Might take you a while to get used to it, but it's doable in a game. Something that is much harder to do is this wall, where you walk over to the root of the tree here, and then you queue over to the top of this tree. There we go, and you can go across. It's not as consistent, but it is still doable. I wouldn't recommend trying this one unless it's a life or death situation, and you just try it once just in case it works out. It's not that consistent. And this also applies to the other side here, where you can just walk over to the flowers and just queue over to the other flowers, and generally you can get it after like 1 try or something. It's not the most consistent thing, but you get it after 1 or 2 tries once you like line up the wall properly. Also, this wall, you can queue over it. Again, not the most consistent thing. It needs to be slightly diagonal. Like, if it needs to be a slightly diagonal queue, it can't be a straight queue. If it's a straight queue, it doesn't work through. Some Fiora in-lane combos will go like this, where you just walk up to the vital, auto E, Q away, and then wait for the vital spawn, auto, run away with the increased vital movement speed. That is like one short Fiora trade. You can also look to Q max range here, and just walk away instantly with your movement speed. Just a max range Q and walk away. That's also a decent short trade that's possible. And you can also incorporate your Gold Drinker here, while running away to proc the vital, and you don't need to be melee range to even proc the vital. All pretty good Fiora trading techniques. Something that you might not have known is, just because you have vision of an enemy does not mean a vital will form. You have to be in range and have vision. And a neat trick to know is that if somebody's in a bush and you don't see them, you don't get a vital on them. You see them, vital forms. Something that you might not have known is, if you're in a bush and you have vision of them, but they don't have vision of you, a vital will not form. So right now, if a vital forms here, you will know, hey, they have vision in this bush, I should back away, they know I'm in this bush, and something's up. I left the best for last. The most important thing you have to do on Fiora, do this every game for the love of fucking, just do this every game, please. Split push. Don't try to team fight, don't try to go over to Drake, to Herald, to whatever. Split push. Get towers. Don't kill enemies. Your enemies are towers. The other champions in the game, your teammates, that you don't care about them. Get turrets. If you try to team fight before 4 to 5 items, you will die much more than you can imagine. It is not consistent. Always split push, split push, split push. Hey, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, just ask me in the YouTube comments. Go to Discord, ask me. I'll answer any Discord questions that you have. And always happy to help.